hadn't seen Charlotte in 5 years, and yet, when I stepped into the cafe, it felt like no time had passed at all.
Oh.
The air in Seattle was crisp, but the moment I caught sight of her sitting there, I felt the warmth of my past wrapping around me. She was sitting by the window, just like old times, looking out into the bustling street below. But something was different. I stood there, just inside the door, watching her for a moment longer. Her profile hadn't changed much, still as beautiful as I remembered. Her hair, her posture, the way she seemed to drown in thought, it was all so familiar. But her eyes, they were different. There was a coldness there, a wall that I'd never noticed before. She looked up as I walked toward her, and her face lit up with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "James," she said softly, her voice cracking with the weight of unspoken things. I hesitated for a fraction of a second, then took the seat across from her. "It's been a while," I said, trying to keep my voice steady, but inside I was already questioning everything. She nodded, her smile still strained. "You look different, changed." I couldn't help but chuckle, though it didn't feel natural. I'm sure you have too. For a moment we just sat there, the silence hanging heavily between us. I could feel the air thick with unspoken words. I was supposed to be here to reconnect, to find the girl I used to know. But the longer I sat, the more I realized something was terribly off. "How have you been?" I asked, trying to sound casual. But the question felt hollow, empty, because I already knew the answer would be far from the one I wanted to hear. "I've been... All right," Charlotte replied, her voice trailing off as she stirred her coffee absent-mindedly. "Busy, you know how it is." But I didn't know. I hadn't known for years. There was a discomfort in the way she avoided my gaze, the way her fingers seemed to fidget with everything on the table except for me. It was a stark contrast to the girl who had once laughed with me endlessly. Her attention always on me, her eyes always searching mine for that connection we used to have. I leaned forward, my voice dropping. "Charlotte... is everything all right?" Her eyes flickered, and for just a moment, I saw the panic in her eyes, the hesitation. She opened her mouth as though to say something, but nothing came out. Instead, she looked away, and the silence between us grew heavier. It was then that I felt it, the nagging doubt that had been building in the pit of my stomach. Something wasn't right, and the harder I tried to ignore it, the clearer it became. Charlotte had changed, and I wasn't sure if I was ready to face whatever had caused it. The waitress interrupted our silence, taking our orders in the same casual tone as before, but I couldn't shake the unease. As she walked away, I couldn't stop myself from asking, "Why didn't you tell me you were back in Seattle?" IH flicked up to meet mine, and she seemed taken aback by the directness of the question. She hesitated again. That damn hesitation. I didn't think it mattered. "I wasn't sure you'd want to see me again." A sharp, bitter laugh escaped my lips, unintentional but revealing my frustration. "Is that what this is? You didn't think I'd want to see you again?" Her gaze dropped to the table. "It's complicated, James." The words stung more than I expected, and the shock hit me like a punch to the gut. It wasn't just the words, though. It was the way she said them, that coldness, that distance. And I realized, with a sinking feeling, that I had no idea who this woman really was anymore. The phone in my pocket buzzed, breaking the tension. "Oh, wow." I pulled it out, seeing an unknown number flashing on the screen. I hesitated for a moment before putting it back in my pocket. But the buzz kept ringing in my ears, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, or followed. "You all right?" Charlotte asked, her voice filled with an unfamiliar concern, as if she were trying to act like she cared. I nodded, but even I didn't believe it. "I think I should go." All this? I stood up abruptly, and for the first time, Charlotte looked genuinely lost. "James," she started, but I didn't wait. I turned and walked out of the cafe, the weight of the past and the unknown future hanging over me. And as I stepped outside, I couldn't shake the feeling that whatever was about to happen, whatever had been left unsaid between us, was about to come crashing down. I didn't know it then, but the truth was closer than I thought. The more time I spent with Charlotte, the more the cracks in her story began to show. At first, I thought it was just my imagination playing tricks on me after all. We hadn't seen each other in years. People change. But there was something about her that felt off. It wasn't just the coldness that lingered between us. It was the small things, the little lies that slipped through when she thought I wasn't paying attention. I should have trusted my gut from the start. It was the third time I heard her mention Peter. It wasn't the first time, and it sure as hell wouldn't be the last. Peter and I went to that new restaurant in town last night, Charlotte casually mentioned as we sat at a park bench, watching the kids play in the distance. Peter? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Who's Peter? Charlotte's eyes flickered, just for a second, but I caught it. She shrugged it off, brushing her hair back. Oh, just a friend. You know, someone I met through work. Someone you met through work. I repeated, narrowing my eyes. But you've never mentioned him before. She laughed nervously, the kind of laugh that made my stomach twist. Oh, you know how it is. I've just been... busy. Peter's just a friend, really. A friend, that's what she called him. But I didn't believe her. The next morning, I made a decision. I wasn't going to let this slide. Something wasn't adding up, and I wasn't going to let her continue to hide things from me. Not when everything we'd shared was already on the line. I had to confront her. I found Charlotte at the same cafe we had met the day before. I could feel the tension building as I approached the table, my pulse quickening with every step. "Charlotte," I said, my voice low but firm. "We need to talk." She looked up from her coffee, her face immediately softening into that smile, the one that used to be so real but now felt like an act. "James, what's wrong?" she asked, trying to sound casual. But I saw the nervousness creeping into her eyes. "I need you to be honest with me," I said, sitting down. I met her gaze. Not backing down. "You've been seeing someone else, haven't you?" For a moment she froze. Her lips parted slightly, and I could see her mind racing as she scrambled for a response. Finally, she let out a long breath, trying to keep her composure. "What are you talking about?" she asked, but there was an edge to her voice now. "James, you're being ridiculous." "Peter," I said, cutting her off. "I heard about him." "Don't lie to me, Charlotte. I know the truth." Her face turned pale. She opened her mouth, then closed it again, as if she was trying to form the right words. But the silence between us was deafening. I didn't want you to know," she finally muttered, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's not what you think." "Then what is it?" I demanded, leaning forward. "What the hell is going on, Charlotte? Are you with him? While I was gone?" She looked away, refusing to meet my gaze. I could see her lips tremble, the fight gone from her voice. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said, almost pleading now. "It's not what you think, James. I never meant to hurt you." I laughed bitterly, my heart sinking. "You didn't mean to hurt me? You've been lying to me for months, and now you expect me to believe you?" "I was confused," she said, her voice cracking. "After you left, I didn't know what to do. And then Peter, he was there. ... Made me feel like I mattered." The words stung. Every sentence she said felt like a dagger to my chest. She had moved on. While I was away, struggling to make sense of everything, she had found comfort in someone else. And worse, she was trying to justify it. I stood up, my hands trembling. "So, this is it then? All these years we spent together, all the memories we shared, it meant nothing." "No," she whispered, tears welling up in her eyes. "James, please. It wasn't like that, but it was. It was exactly like that." I felt a surge of anger rising within me, but I pushed it down, my mind spinning with disbelief. How could I have been so blind? How could I have trusted her, believed in her, when she had been living a lie? "Do you even care about me anymore?" I asked, my voice barely audible. Charlotte looked up, and for the first time I saw the truth in her eyes. It was there, in the way she looked at me, not with love, but with guilt, with regret. "I don't know," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I thought I did. I thought I could move on. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. All these years of thinking I could trust her, of hoping that maybe, just maybe, we could go back to what we once had all been a lie. I turned away before I could say anything else. The truth hit me like a ton of bricks, and for the first time, I wondered if the past we shared had ever been real. Could it have been? Or had I just been living in a fantasy the whole time? I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to Charlotte's story than what she had told me. Every time I looked at her, I felt like I was missing something important. I had to know the truth, whatever that truth was. I started asking around. I wasn't proud of it, but I had to do it. The lies were eating me alive, and I needed answers. I reached out to a few old acquaintances of hers, people I used to know. They didn't know much, but they knew enough. Then, one evening, it all fell into place. I'd been digging through her social media, trying to find some clue, when I found a picture. It was subtle, hidden behind a series of vacation photos, but it was there. Charlotte and Peter together, holding hands, smiling. The caption, "A night to remember." A sickening wave of betrayal washed over me as I stared at the screen. My heart sank. So it wasn't just an affair. It was serious. I sat back, my hands shaking. How long had this been going on? How could she look me in the eyes and lie to me about all of it? I wasn't going to wait for her to tell me. I wasn't going to let her control the narrative anymore. I needed to confront her, to see the truth in her eyes. I didn't give it another second. I grabbed my coat, stormed out the door, and headed straight for her apartment. I could feel my pulse pounding in my ears. The anger was building up in me, but there was something else too. Pain. So much pain. When I arrived, I didn't even knock. I just opened the door. Charlotte looked up, startled, from the couch where she'd been reading. Her face immediately turned pale when she saw me standing there, fists clenched, eyes burning with the truth. "James, what are you doing here?" she asked, her voice shaky. I didn't waste time. "How long, Charlotte?" I asked, my voice low but intense. "How long have you been seeing him?" She froze. The blood drained from her face, and for a moment, she didn't speak. "James, please," she began, but I cut her off. "Don't lie to me," I growled. "I've seen the pictures. I know everything." Her eyes darted around, as if she was searching for an escape. Then she finally let out a long sigh, as if resigning herself to the truth. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this," she said, her voice cracking. "I never wanted you to find out this way." I felt a sharp pain in my chest, could feel the betrayal seeping into my bones. "So, you've been lying to me all this time?" I asked, my voice rising. "All the times we talked? All the promises? Was that all a lie too?" Charlotte's face twisted in guilt, and for a moment I saw something like regret in her eyes. "I never meant for it to go this far," she said. "It just ... happened. Peter and I, You what?" I interrupted, fury bubbling up inside me. "You just happened to fall in love with someone else while I was away? And you thought I wouldn't find out?" "James, please," she whispered, standing up and walking toward me. "I didn't mean to hurt you. You were gone, and I was. I was lonely." The anger inside me flared up. "Lonely," I snapped. "You were lonely, so you decided to cheat on me? Someone I don't even know? Do you think that's okay?" "I didn't want to hurt you," she said, tears brimming in her eyes. "But Peter, he understood me. He made me feel seen when you weren't here. When you were in London, I felt so abandoned. I thought maybe you'd come back. Maybe you wouldn't. And you decided to move on with him," I shouted. "That's your excuse?" She flinched, but I didn't care anymore. "I don't know what to say, James," she whispered, her voice barely audible now. "I can't take back what happened. I wish I could, but I can't." "Don't," I spat. "Don't try to justify this. You've been lying to me for months, and now you want me to believe that? That it was just some mistake?" She looked away, her shoulders shaking. I couldn't bring myself to care about her tears anymore. The betrayal was too much, the anger too real. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, my voice quieter now, more hurt than angry. "Why didn't you just tell me the truth?" "I was scared," she whispered, lowering her head. "I didn't want to lose you, but I was already losing myself." I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself, but the pain was unbearable. The trust I had built with her over the years, the connection I thought we shared, it was all a lie, and I didn't know how to fix it. I felt torn. There was a part of me that wanted to walk away, to leave her behind and never look back. But there was another part of me, the part that loved her, that was still fighting to understand. I didn't know if I should confront her, yell at her, or if I should walk away and never speak to her again. I was lost. "I don't know what to do anymore, Charlotte," I said, my voice breaking as I turned to leave. "I don't even know if you're worth fighting for." And with that, I walked out, not sure what I was walking toward. But knowing one thing for sure, I could never trust her again. I couldn't breathe. The walls were closing in on me, and it felt like I was drowning in my own thoughts. Charlotte's face, her voice, the way she'd tried to justify everything, it was all replaying in my mind like an endless loop. I couldn't escape it. I sat in my apartment, the silence deafening. I couldn't focus, couldn't think straight. One part of me wanted to break down, cry, let it all out. The other part of me, ... The angry part, the part that wanted justice, wanted revenge, was screaming for action. What was I supposed to do? I had always prided myself on being the reasonable one, the one who could see both sides. But now, all I saw was betrayal. The woman I had loved, the woman I had trusted with my heart, had shattered everything we had. And she thought a few tears would make it go away. She thought I could just forget. I couldn't. But could I forgive her? Could I really let go of the past? Let go of the pain? I wasn't sure if I was strong enough for that. I stood up, pacing around the apartment, my mind racing. I couldn't forgive her, not after everything, not after she tore my world apart. But revenge. Revenge felt like the only thing that would give me peace. I knew what I had to do. I had to expose her, show her for who she really was. Tear down the life she had built with her lies and manipulations. I didn't care anymore if it hurt her. I needed to make her pay. I grabbed my phone and texted Max. He'd always been there for me, even when I didn't want to hear it. But tonight I needed someone to tell me I was right. I needed someone to push me forward. Max, we need to talk. Within minutes, my phone buzzed. Max, meet me at the bar. I know something's wrong. I put the phone down, grabbed my jacket, and left. I didn't even know what I was going to say to him. What could I say? I had made up my mind. Charlotte wasn't going to get away with this. When I walked into the bar, Max was sitting at a corner table, nursing a beer. He looked up as I approached, his brow furrowing at the expression on my face. He knew me too well. James, he said, his voice low, what's going on? I sat down across from him, rubbing my hands together. She did it, Max. She really did it. I thought it was just an affair, but it's more than that. She's been lying to me for months about everything. I don't know who she is anymore. Max leaned forward, his face serious. And what are you going to do about it? I don't know, I said, my voice tight. I can't just let her get away with this. I want to expose her, make her pay for everything she's done. I'm done being the nice guy, Max. I'm done. Max sighed, sitting back in his chair. You're angry? You're right to be. But revenge isn't going to fix anything. It won't make you feel better, James. Trust me on that. I stared at him, frustration bubbling up inside me. Shh. You don't understand, Max. She ripped my heart out. She betrayed me in ways I didn't even know were possible. And now you're telling me to just forgive her? I'm not saying forgive her, Max said, his voice softer now. I'm saying that revenge won't bring you peace. It'll just drag you down with her. You have to let it go, man. For your own sake, I shook my head, unable to accept it. I can't just let her go. She doesn't deserve that. She deserves to lose everything she's built on lies. Max didn't say anything for a moment. Then he leaned in closer, lowering his voice. I get it, James. I do. But you've been through too much already. Don't let her destroy you. Don't let her be the reason you lose yourself. I stared at him, struggling with the words. I don't know what else to do, Max. You walk away, he said firmly. You take the high road. You move on. I stood up abruptly, the anger still coursing through me. I can't just walk away from this. I have to make her see what she did. I have to make sure she pays. Max didn't follow me as I walked out of the bar, but I could feel his eyes on me, his disappointment in my decision. But I couldn't help it. I had to do this. I couldn't just let her win. She had taken everything from me, and I was going to make sure she paid for it. I walked to Olivia's apartment, my mind still racing. She was the one person who had always been there for me, no matter what. But I didn't know what to expect from her now. I rang the doorbell, and Olivia answered, her eyes scanning me as she stepped aside to let me in. James, what's going on? She asked, concern evident in her voice. I walked straight into the living room and sank down onto the couch. I don't know what to do, Liv. Max says I should let it go, but I can't. I can't just forgive her. Olivia sat beside me, her hand resting on mine. James, revenge will destroy you. It's not worth it. I don't know how to stop myself, I said, my voice shaking. She's ruined everything. She took away everything I cared about, and I need to make her understand. I know it's hard, Olivia said, her voice soft. But you're stronger than this. You don't need revenge to feel better. You don't need to let her drag you down. I looked at her, seeing the concern in her eyes. And for the first time since I found out the truth, I felt the weight of her words. Could I really let it go? Could I move on without destroying myself in the process? I spent the next few days obsessing over every little detail. The lies, the secrets. Charlotte's betrayal was just the tip of the iceberg. My mind raced as I pieced everything together. Every conversation we'd had, every glance she'd given Mitt, was all a puzzle, and I was determined to finish it. I started asking around more. People who had known Charlotte longer than I had. People who saw a side of her I never did. It wasn't easy. Some were reluctant to talk. Others just didn't know much. But little by little, the truth started to emerge. Charlotte wasn't who she had claimed to be. Her perfect little life was a facade. It all started with her family. I had always known her parents weren't exactly the most loving, but what I uncovered about her past was far worse. I learned that Charlotte had grown up in a toxic environment, one where her family's coldness and manipulation were the norm. Her father, a man she never spoke about, had been controlling and distant. And her mother. From what I gathered, she was the kind of woman who used guilt as a weapon. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Charlotte had never mentioned any of this to me. She'd always painted a picture of a perfect upbringing, of a loving home. But that was just another lie she'd built her life on. I realized then how deeply she had buried her past, how much she had hidden from me. It made sense, her need to feel wanted, to feel in control. But it wasn't just her family. There were others. Past relationships. People she'd been with before me. Friends who'd seen her manipulate her way into getting what she wanted. I knew Charlotte had her secrets, but the extent of them? I was just beginning to understand. I had to confront her. But this time, I wasn't going to ask questions. This time I was going to have the upper hand. I dialed Ethan's number. He'd been more than just a friend of Charlotte's. He'd known her for years, and he knew about the side of her that I'd never seen. If anyone had the full picture, it was him. James, Ethan answered after the first ring. What's up? I leaned back in my chair, staring out of the window. I need to know everything you know about Charlotte. There was a pause on the other end. I could practically hear him thinking. Why? 'Cause she's lied to me, I said, my voice steady. I need to know how deep this goes. I need to know the truth. Ethan sighed. I figured you'd get here eventually. Look, I don't want to get involved in this, but you're asking for things I can't just ignore. I don't care about your reasons, I snapped. Just tell me. Everything. Ethan hesitated, then gave in. Fine, but this stays between us, all right? Charlotte ... She's always been a master manipulator. She's been using people for years, making them think she's someone she's not. You're not the first one to get burned by her. His words hit me like a ton of bricks. What do you mean? She has a history, Ethan continued, his voice low. Before you, there were others. Some of them weren't so lucky. She'd get close, get them to trust her, and then when they were hooked, she'd pull the rug out from under them. She's been doing this for as long as I've known her. I was stunned. So it's not just me. No, Ethan said firmly, and she's always played the victim. She's convinced people that she's the one who's been hurt. But in reality, she's the one doing the hurting. She's got this way of twisting everything, making it seem like she's the one who's been wronged. I was quiet for a long moment, processing his words. How could I have been so blind? You weren't blind, James. She's good at what she does, Ethan said softly, but you're not alone in this. I've seen her break people before. You just happened to be the one who finally woke up. I took a deep breath, my mind racing. There it was. The confirmation of everything I had suspected, everything I had feared. Charlotte was not who I thought she was. She was a liar, a manipulator, and I wasn't going to let her get away with it. Thanks, Ethan, I said, hanging up the phone. I didn't know how long I sat there, just letting the weight of it all sink in. But when I finally stood up, I felt different. Something had shifted inside me. I wasn't the same guy who had walked into this relationship, the guy who wanted to forgive, who wanted to believe. I was done with that version of myself. I was going to make Charlotte face the consequences of her actions. I wasn't going to just walk away. I wasn't going to let her destroy me. The next day, I went to her apartment. This time, I wasn't going to let her talk her way out of it. When she opened the door, her eyes widened as she saw the look on my face. She could tell something was different about me. "What's going on, James?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. You're different." "Yeah," I said, stepping past her into the apartment. "I am different." I could feel the power shifting between us. For the first time, I wasn't the one begging for answers. I wasn't the one looking for a way to fix things. This time, she was going to face the truth. "I know about Peter," I said, watching her face turn pale. "I know about your family. I know about every lie you've told me." Her eyes flickered, and she opened her mouth to speak, but I raised my hand, stopping her. "No more lies, Charlotte," I said, my voice cold. "I'm done with them." She stepped back, eyes wide, like she was trying to make sense of what I was saying. "You don't get to lie to me anymore," I continued. "You don't get to manipulate me anymore. Now, you've ruined everything, Charlotte, and now I'm going to make sure everyone knows the truth." The shift in power was palpable. For the first time, Charlotte was speechless. I had the upper hand, and I was going to make sure she paid for every lie. I could feel it all unraveling around me. The moment I exposed Charlotte, I knew it was only a matter of time before her lies started coming to light. But nothing prepared me for how fast things would spiral out of control. The first sign was the phone call I received from one of Charlotte's old friends. Her name was Jenny Shee, and Charlotte had been close back in college. Jenny had always been one of those people who seemed to know more than she let on, but I never thought she'd be the one to bring it all crashing down. "I just wanted you to know, James," Jenny said over the phone, her voice low and hesitant. "Charlotte, she's not who you think she is. I don't know if you've seen the emails, but emails?" I cut her off, my heart pounding. "What emails?" "Just ... some stuff I found." "She's been lying to you about more than just Peter," Jenny explained. "There's more about her family, about her exes. She's been hiding it all, James. She's been telling people you two were done for months." I sat there in silence, the weight of her words crashing into me. She'd been telling people we were over. She had been making a fool of me behind my back. I knew it wasn't right, but I didn't want to get involved. "But you deserve to know the truth." I hung up the phone, my hands shaking. My chest tightened as I thought back to everything Charlotte had said, everything she'd done. The lies were so deep, I couldn't even see the bottom anymore. But now, the truth was coming out and I wasn't going to stop it. The next few days were a blur. Everywhere I turned, more people started talking. Old friends, former colleagues, everyone who had known Charlotte, it seemed, had a story to tell. She'd been using people for years, pretending to be someone she wasn't, manipulating those around her to get what she wanted. But it was only when I ran into Peter, of all people, that I felt a sense of closure begin to form. I saw him at a bar, looking lost in thought, nursing a drink alone. I couldn't believe it at first, but when he saw me approach, his face fell. I didn't need to say a word. "James," he said, his voice strained, "I didn't want this. You have to know that." "You didn't want it?" I repeated, my anger flaring up again. "You didn't want to lie to me? You didn't want to hurt me? You've been living in a fantasy world, Peter? You've been a part of all this, her lies, her manipulation?" "I know," he said quietly, his hand shaking. "I didn't know what to do. Charlotte, she's not who you think she is. I should have told you sooner. I'm sorry." I didn't even know how to respond. Part of me wanted to scream at him, to make him feel as much pain as I had. But another part of me, the part that was starting to heal, just wanted to walk away. "You don't need to apologize to me," I said, my voice low. "You need to apologize to yourself. You've been living in her lies just as much as I have." I walked away from Peter, the sense of closure growing stronger, but the pain still clinging to me, no matter how much the truth had come to light, no matter how much Charlotte's life had started to fall apart. I still couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. I went home that night, my mind racing, my body exhausted. I needed someone to talk to, someone who wouldn't judge me for the decisions I'd made, or the anger that still burned inside me. I dialed my father's number. "Dad," I said when he picked up, "I need to talk." He paused for a moment, and then I heard his familiar voice on the other end. "What's going on, son?" I sank into the couch, feeling the weight of everything settle over me. "It's over, Dad. I've exposed her. I've made sure the truth came out, but ... it still hurts. I don't know if I can let go of it. I don't know how to move forward." I heard my father's heavy sigh on the other end, followed by a long pause. "James," he said softly, "I know you're hurting, son, but you've got to let it go. Yeah. She's not worth your time, your energy. Don't let her drag you down with her. I don't know how to do that, I admitted, my voice cracking. I just want to make sure she faces the consequences. I want her to feel what I felt. You'll get there, my father said, his tone steady and comforting. But don't let revenge consume you. The best revenge is your peace of mind. Let her fall apart on her own. Don't be the one to tear her down. You're better than that. I closed my eyes, leaning back into the couch. His words echoed in my mind. I wanted to hate Charlotte, wanted to see her suffer for what she did to me. But deep down I knew my father was right. I couldn't let her win. Not like this. I had to rise above it. The pain of the betrayal still stung, but for the first time, I felt a glimmer of hope. I was going to be okay. I was going to move forward, and Charlotte, well, she was going to have to face the consequences of her own actions. I didn't need to destroy her. Life would take care of that for me. I wasn't sure what I expected when I saw Charlotte again. Maybe I thought I'd still feel the same. A part of me wanted to believe the good in her, to see the person I used to love. But when I opened the door and saw her standing there, looking so different, so broken, I knew it was over. Her eyes were red, and her face was pale. She looked like she hadn't slept in days, like she'd been carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. I didn't feel sorry for her. Not anymore, James, she said quietly, stepping inside before I could say anything. I need to talk to you. I stood there, frozen. Part of me wanted to slam the door in her face and never look back, but I didn't. I couldn't, not just yet. Not until this was over. What do you want, Charlotte? Said, my voice steady, but the anger simmering just below the surface. What is it? Another apology? Another excuse? I know I've hurt you, she said, her voice breaking. I know I've destroyed everything, but please, James, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. I stared at her, fighting the urge to scream. You didn't mean for it to happen? You didn't mean to betray me? To lie to me for months? To destroy everything we had? She looked down, her face crumpling as tears filled her eyes. I didn't mean it, James. I swear I didn't. I was confused. I thought I was doing the right thing. Doing the right thing? I laughed bitterly. You've been manipulating everyone around you for years, Charlotte, and now you want me to forgive you? To believe you? She reached out, her hand trembling as she tried to touch me. Please, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Please forgive me. I'll do anything. I shook my head, stepping back. No, Charlotte, it's too late for that. The silence between us was heavy, thick with everything that had been left unsaid. She looked like she was about to say something, but I cut her off before she could. You can't fix this. You can't make it go away with a few words and some tears. You've destroyed everything, Charlotte. And now you have to live with the consequences. She collapsed into the chair beside me, her face buried in her hands. I didn't mean for it to go this far, James. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did, I said, my voice calm now, almost detached. You didn't just hurt me, you hurt yourself. You hurt everyone around you, and now it's too late. I stood up, my chest tight with emotion. I've spent enough time in this mess, Charlotte. I've let you drag me down for too long, but I'm done. Moving on. She looked up at me, her face pale and drawn. But I love you, she whispered. I didn't know what to say to that. My heart had once ached for her, but now, I was just numb. The love I once felt had been replaced by disappointment, by anger, by betrayal. I'm sorry, Charlotte, but I don't love you anymore, I said quietly. And I can't keep holding on to something that isn't there. Her face crumpled as she let out a shaky breath, tears spilling down her cheeks. I've lost you, haven't I? She asked, her voice breaking. Yes, I said, the word feeling final. You've lost me. I walked to the door, my heart pounding, but my mind clear. I wasn't going to keep living in the past. I wasn't going to let her destruction define me anymore. When I opened the door, I saw Peter standing in the hallway, his face full of guilt. James, he said quietly, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but you don't deserve anything from me, I said coldly, cutting him off. We're just as much a part of this mess as she was. I hope you're ready to face the consequences of your actions. Peter didn't say anything else. He just stood there, looking like the weight of his own guilt was finally hitting him. He'd been living in Charlotte's lies for far too long, and now it was all coming crashing down. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me, and for the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe again. I walked down the stairs, my heart heavy, but my steps light. There was no more bitterness, no more anger. There was just the cold, hard truth and the knowledge that I was free. I didn't look back. It's strange, but now that everything's finally over, I don't feel the relief I thought I would. I thought that once I exposed Charlotte for who she really was, once I walked away, I'd be free. I'd feel better, stronger, but I didn't. Not immediately. I've been sitting here for hours, just thinking. It's like my mind's been replaying the whole mess over and over, and I can't stop it. But somewhere between the anger, the betrayal, and the confusion, something changed in me. I can't keep holding on to that anger. It's not doing me any good. I keep thinking about what Max and Olivia told me. They were right, even when I didn't want to hear it. Holding on to revenge, it doesn't bring peace. It just keeps you tied to the past. It keeps you stuck. It's funny how you can know something in your head but not really understand it until you've lived through it. I can't keep blaming Charlotte for everything that happened. Yes, she hurt me. Yes, she lied to me. But I allowed it. I let her drag me down. I gave her that power. And now I'm choosing to take that power back. I get it now. God. It's not about punishing her or making her feel the pain she caused me. It's about me, about moving on, about growing. I pick up the phone, dialing Olivia's number. I need to hear her voice. I need to talk to someone who's seen me through the worst of it. Hey, it's me, I say when she picks up. James, you okay? She asks, her voice always soft and full of concern. I'm good, I say, surprising myself. I am good. I'm really good. You sound different, she says. What's going on? I've been thinking, I say, leaning back in my chair. About everything. About Charlotte. About what happened. And I'm done. I'm done with the past. Live. I'm ready to move forward. There's silence on the other end for a moment. That's really good, James. I'm proud of you. Thanks, I say quietly. I think I've finally let go of everything. The anger, the hurt, it's all still there, but I'm not letting it control me anymore. She smiles on the other end of the line, and I can hear the pride in her voice. You're stronger than you know. I sit in silence for a while, just listening to her breath. The sound comforts me more than I can say. I've been thinking about starting fresh, I say, breaking the silence. I don't know what that looks like yet, but I feel like I've learned enough from this to know that I need to take the next step. Not for anyone else, but for me. It sounds like the right choice, Olivia says softly. Hey, you've been through so much, James. It's time to let go and focus on you. I am, I say, smiling now. I'm focusing on me. I hang up, feeling lighter than I have in a long time. Maybe it's the beginning of something new. Maybe it's the start of a life where I'm no longer defined by someone else's actions. Maybe it's just me taking control of my own story. I look out the window, the city lights twinkling in the distance. I think about all the people I've met, all the choices I've made. I think about Charlotte, think about Peter. I think about the hurt, the betrayal, the confusion. But most of all, I think about the lessons I've learned. Revenge won't heal you. Forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for you. You can't change the past, but you can control how it shapes you. I get up from the chair, looking around the apartment that's still filled with remnants of my old life. It's time to let it all go. Time to make space for something new. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in months, I'm not afraid. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.